добрый день.
Good afternoon, good morning to everybody, dear friends. Happy to welcome you at another seminar of the International Scientific Seminar, The Secret Doctrine, devoted to Sloka 8 of Stanza 3. Sloka 8 is kind of away from all the text of the Secret Doctrine because the Sloka 8 is unique as it connects and synthesizes almost all. This is the sequence that we'll try to deal with today. Thank you for joining us, and the interest to studies of the Secret Doctrine is crucial, and we admire it because it's so hard to study the Secret Doctrine, and so many people haven't studied it. It's a difficult material to study indeed. We are trying to put it in a kind of a system so that we could study it as a system, so it becomes a foundation to reveal and to understand your own thought, that is the reflection of the single. As you know, there is a kind of question from students. How can we actually understand what is impossible to understand? And the teachers of humanity, the hierarchs, don't answer it. They ask it once again. How is it possible to understand what is impossible to understand? I believe it's a question revealing the sense of studying the secret doctrine. I think it's impossible to understand, but we're trying. We're trying to develop our consciousness, to expand it, and to find out a frequency, purity that helps this impossibility to understand close to us. This kind of understanding is life. How can we actually answer this question if it's impossible to find out the foundation of the eternal life? For the first time in the world, it happened in the Secret Doctrine. Of course, all the family of Rariks in their life ethics tried to create a kind of synthesis that gives us this kind of pure light. If you have this pure light, you don't need any proof that it exists. So, today we're trying to touch the concept of the workshop. This is the eternal light, the absolute light. And we are coming to a point when we don't need any proof that it exists. Thank you so much to our interpreters, Ksenia Persova, Alexandra Bobko. Thank you for joining us, for being with us. And we are trying to help all the speakers to interpret, to make you understand each other. Not only the Russian speakers are with us today, Kishore Angola from India and Brigitte Taquin from Paris are with us today, as well as Mr. Huang from the South Korea, Mr. Kolganov from Moscow, Mr. Shaniva-san from Hungary. Thank you so much. Welcome, because we only have 2 hours to study the Sloka. It's a short time, really. I think it's impossible to study this pure light in these 2 hours, but we'll do our best, of course. Thank you for being with us. We're getting started, and the first speaker is the head of the School of Theosophy and psychologist, Mr. Yary, Mr. Vladimir Yary. Thank you so much. The thought of the day is what we're starting with. And the thought of the day for meditation given by Madame Blavatsky is the following. There are 4 things of which a little goes on a long way: pain, poverty, error, and enmity. And the first question that comes to our mind is why? Why is it so long that it requires, that pain, poverty, error, and enmity require? The answer is, of course, the following. We are getting inside pain, and we're becoming pain. That is why time stops for us. The same way we can live in poverty and time stops there. We are poor. We can be in error, and then it seems there is no time for us. It doesn't exist. It's so long. It doesn't have any end and any limit. It's our state of mind. In order to get rid of this state of mind, HPB is saying that a human being is a microcosmos, being in microcosmos, as light in darkness, and as darkness relating to light. The combination of today's nidanas opens a possibility for us to meditate so as to continue this thought of Madame Blavatsky as a point for our contemplation. It comes out that the combination of nidanas gives us a full understanding and picture of the quality of time. What does it depend on? If we take into account that the human being is the consciousness that understands, we see that time is the carrier. The carrier or time carries our consciousness in the flow of evolution to develop human and divine nature, so that the human being reflects the divine human being, or the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. And the following combination of nidanas we have today, the era of Aquarius we are coming in, is understandable for us. That is, the constellation of Aquarius is in air element. The blue monkey is kind of hierophant of this sector. It's the symbol of the beauty of thought, the beauty of our desires, the beauty of our picture of the world. This beauty will depend on the state of our mind. If we have our thoughts pure and high, you can go by the high world, as the teaching says. You can think in a high manner and in a solemn manner. Then the beauty of our worldview and the urge of our worldview is the positive element of our mind, and it can expand our mind. That is the era we are coming in. from the era of Pisces, the Christian era. We are in today's day of the blue goat in the constellation of Virgo. The blue goat is connected in the triangle of the spirit with the blue hair and the blue boar. The Theosophical consciousness is connected with these three nidanas. The blue hair is knowledge, the blue boar is consciousness, and the goat, the blue goat, is the symbol of Kriya Shakti power. That is the power allowing the human being to create the universe. Kriya Shakti requires clarity of the image. In other words, it's created from the prototypes caught by the Theosophical consciousness. And that is when the knowledge is revealed in the synthetic form. That is the power of the spiritual triangle, is revealed in today's day through these three nidanas. We know that Virgo is the constellation of Virgo, opens the sixth hierarchy of divine creatures. Dhyani Buddhi is their name. And the feature of the space that is revealed in the constellation of Taurus in the first case. In the second case, this mind with its powers corresponds to Virgo. The second earth and the third earth is the earth of Capricorn, the sacred earth, when the potentiality and the power of the first constellation of Taurus got its power in Virgo to be revealed. And the constellation of Sagittarius is the possibility to create. It's possible for the mind to act consciously and to get the human being to its spiritual nature, to make its mind spiritual. That is why today is a crucial day. We can get to the new point, to the unpromised land, to the world of ideas, of mindful creatures in their creative potential. In another combination of the week, we have the black tiger. The symbol of Akasha is the black, and the tiger as Nidana is the symbol of birth, revelation through birth, and using these powers while working on ourselves to get the birth to our mind, to spiritualize it is the point we work on. We are trying to purify ourselves. That is when we spiritualize our mind, and the black tiger and the white Taurus, white boar, are the two Nidanas. They are symbols of the spiritual pole of the wheel of time. In front of them, in front of the black tiger is the black monkey. In front of the white Taurus is the white goat, the symbol of revealed love, the absolute love. And the black monkey is the symbol of the human beauty. the first, the primordial sound, a note that corresponds to the human space in spirit. According to the week of birth, the week of this time we're in is where we on this pole, the axis is called the spiritual axis of the wheel of time. And it's quite a surprise that we are living in a month of the white rooster, and the white rooster is on the material axis of the wheel of time, countered by the white hare, the black dragon, and the black dragon is countered by the black dog. The start and the end are the symbols of the material axis of the wheel of Kalachakra. What does this month give us? The white rooster says us that we should bow because the rooster is the great teacher, the logos, proposing to the black dog, being at the beginning of parameter of the orange direction of the space, to bow. As you understand, for the whole month, we can express our gratitude to the teacher, and we will develop the same way it happens from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. every day for the whole month. That is when we're working on this parameter of meditation, bowing. In this bowing, generosity is always there. Generosity of the human nature.
People refuse from everything that's material in order to understand their higher self, to comprehend the higher self. Kalahansa, Hamsa. It's all the same. And when we take this bow, we wish to express ourselves. We are the microcosm, and there's also the macrocosmos. And we refuse from everything that's personal, that's egotistic in its nature, from our ego, from our prejudices and habits. We should be generous here, giving away everything. And this happens during the whole month. And the white rooster, as we all know, is the principle of logos. It's a word. It's the perfection. And this word is always a calling. And when the spirit answers this call, and when it lightens up, the world of the spirit, or the human themselves, start to resonate with the world spirit. We have the year of the black hare now. It's amazing that without this learning ability, and the learning ability is primarily our experience and knowledge that we've accumulated, we have been accumulating for ages in our various manifestations on earth in these forms. And this learning ability for the whole year will enable us to unleash this potential within ourselves, to hear this sound of silence, it is manifested today in this with the help of this blue goat power, the Kriya Shakti power, this experience and knowledge that we've accumulated in the form of knowledge, in the form of the black hair. The black hair immediately, clearly shows the images. That is why Akasha is the power and the force of the current year of the black hair. And Akasha is the power of manifestation, the power of urging us to hear our own voice, the voice of our teacher. It gives us the new understanding of the learning ability. Immediately, the image is manifested within us, which will help us, together with Kriya Shakti, create the thought forms. In other words, to identify the idea, to separate it from the space, and to create consciously this thought form. And that is how we create the whole universe, because we become the co-creators with the universe. If that happens within us, the meditative thought of Blavatsky tells us not to be the slaves of the time. It means that we need to get rid of all the attachments to this illusionary perception of the world and to enter the world of knowledge based on the experience that we've accumulated. And only then the spirit of consciousness will help us. The age is the age of the white dragon, and it shows us that we are living through the age of the wisdom. And it means that the stupidity, all the stupidity manifests, and the white color, the color of the ether, shows the worst state of our mind. And the worst state of our mind is the sleeping mode in which we are right now. And this year demands us to wake up. So that is about the white dragon age. The epoch symbolizes this transition period and this part of the huge cycle. The Aquarius epoch that is symbolized with 25,900 years. And the small epoch is lasts for 250 years. And during these 250 years, we need to work to teach our astral body. And now we can move on to Stanza Dzian, and I give the floor to my colleague. Thank you so much. Thank you for Nidana and Kalachakra study. Vladimir is always telling us about the now. He's not in the past, not in the future, and that gives us a particular impetus to study it more. We continue the seminar. We are moving to Sloka 8, stanza 3. I would like to give the floor to Brigitte Taquin, France, Theosophic Society, Paris, Blavatsky Lodge. Madam Taquin, we give you the floor. Thank you so much for being able to join us.
Thank you so much. Hi to everybody. So this stanza seems to be concerned by the fire element. Where is the spirit of a flame that burns in your lamp? What is light? What is flame? In the Secret Doctrine, we find many excerpts about it. In the transaction of the Blavatsky Lodge, it is said, Blavatsky says, fire is the most mystic of all 5 elements, as also the most divine. Therefore, to give an explanation of its various meaning on our plane alone, leaving all the other planes entirely out of the question, would be much too arduous, in addition to its being entirely incomprehensible for the vast majority. Fire is the father of light, light the parent of heat, and air, vital air. If the absolute deity can be referred to as darkness or the dark fire, the light, its first progeny, is truly the first self-conscious God. For what is light in its primordial root but the world illuminating and life-giving deity? Light is that which from an abstraction has become a reality. No one has ever seen real or primordial light. What we see is only its broken rays or reflection, which become denser and less luminous as they descend into form and matter. Fire, therefore, is a term which comprehends all. First, fire is the invisible deity, the Father, and the manifesting light is God the Son, and also the Son. Fire, in the occult sense, is ether, and ether is born of motion, and motion is the eternal, dark, invisible fire. Light sets in motion and control all in nature, from the highest primordial ether down to the tiniest molecule in space. Motion is eternal per se, and in the manifested cosmos, it is the alpha and omega of that which is called electricity, galvanism, magnetism, sensation, moral and physical, thought, and even life on this our plane. Thus, fire on our plane is simply the manifestation of motion or life. All cosmic phenomena were referred to by the Rosicrucian as animated geometry. Every polar function is only a repetition of primeval polarity, said the fire philosopher. For motion begets heat, and ether in motion is heat. When it slackens in motion, then cold is generated, for cold is ether in a latent condition. Thus, the principal states of nature are free positive and free negative, synthesized by the primeval light. The three negative states are: first, darkness; second, cold; third, vacuum or voidness. The three positive are First, light on our plane. Second, heat. Third, all nature. Thus, fire may be called the unity of the universe. Pure cosmic fire, without, so to speak, fuel, is deity in its universality. For cosmic fire or heat, which it calls forth, is every atom of matter in manifested nature. There is not a thing or a particle in the universe which does not contain in it latent fire. In The Secret Doctrine, page 40 of the first volume, we can read, darkness is father, mother, light is the sun, says an old Eastern proverb. And as in the instance of primordial light, that source is unknown. Therefore, it is called darkness by us. As to borrowed or secondary light, whatever its source, it can be but of a temporary maiavic character. Darkness, then, is the eternal matrix in which the sources of light appear and disappear. Nothing is added to darkness to make of it light, nor to light to make it darkness, unless our plane. They are interchangeable, and scientifically, light is but a mode of darkness, and vice versa. Yet both are phenomena of the same noumenon. How far we discern the light that shines in darkness depends upon our power of vision. So, father, mother is the germ, which is said to be fiery from its male aspect. In the Secret Doctrine, again, we find this quotation. It is said, we must seek for the ultimate causes of light, heat, etc., etc., in matter existing in supersensuous states. States, however, as fully objective to a spiritual eye of man as a horse or a tree is to the ordinary mortal. Light and heat are the ghost or shadow of matter in motion. Such states of matter can be perceived by the seer or the adept during the hour of trance under the Sushumna ray, the first of the 7 mystic rays of the sun. So, fire is said to be everywhere, but we don't see it most of the time. The Lanoo of a stanza is exhorted to meditate upon the spirit of a flame which burns in his lamp in order to have a vivid experience of a spirit in the darkness. The Secret Doctrine states, page 70 on the first volume, according to the tenets of the Eastern occultism, darkness is the one true actuality, the basis and the root of light, without which the latter could never manifest itself, nor even exist. Light is matter, and darkness pure spirit. Darkness in its radical metaphysical basis is subjective and absolute light, while light, in all its seeming effulgence and glory, is merely a mass of shadows, as it can never be eternal and is simply an illusion or Maya. Further, it is said, a day may come when the eyes of men will be opened, and then they may comprehend better than they do now that verse in the Gospel of John that says, "And the light shines in darkness, and the darkness comprehends it not." Thank you for the attention.
Dear Brigitte, thank you so much. You know, there are not so many people who have this research ability to delve deep into the material, to connect the dots into one unit, into one chain. There are not so many people, and we are so hope that these rare people always have the opportunity to join our seminars and to talk about this unique sequence, about this unique secret doctrine by Blavatsky. And it is indeed the consecutive system. Let's have a look and see how accurately Brigitte, as if drew her own beautiful pattern of this flame, of this germ, of this light and shadows, of this darkness, of the root and everything, how all that is interconnected, and how all of that is one beautiful pattern that we probably don't perceive the way that the speaker does right now in the moment of speaking, but that is how you feel. And I liked the phrase that you said, the feeling of this thought of this flame in stanza 8, in Sloka 8. It's important for us to live through that so that we would have the impetus on our mind, on our heart. Thank you so much.
Yeah, continuing the workshop, and I invite to the studies of Sloka 8, Mr. Kishore Angol at the Theosophical Society of India. Mr. Kishore, the floor is yours.
Namaste to all. Good evening, everyone. The commentary, in the Sanskrit commentary, today we are discussing about where was the germ and where was now darkness. Stanza 3, Sloka 8. Where is the spirit of the flame that burns in thy lamp, O Lanoo? The germ is that, and that is light, the white, brilliant son of the dark hidden father. I think Madam Brigitte has addressed the most important words of this sloka: the darkness, the germ, the fire, the spirit, and the light. That is very important to know about the darkness, because darkness is the Mula Prakriti, from where everything comes: light, heat, motion, and everything. Here, The Lanoo, the question was posed to the Lanoo. Before the Lanoo can hope to understand the transcendentally metaphysical problem contained in the first question, he must be able to answer the second, that is the commentary. So the purpose of the each and every secret doctrine reader or theosophist is to know about the darkness. That is the goal. It is not that you have a great position in the society or a good speaker or any other thing. The inner goal is to learn about the universal laws. Here in the Sanskrit commentary, of the stanza, the terms used for the concealed and unveiled principles are many. In the earliest MSS of Indian literature, this unrevealed abstract deity has no name. It is called generally that I am that. This particular I am that is a meditation technique, what we call in our Puranas and our ancient scriptures. In Hindu scriptures, it is not particularly, you cannot say it is Hindu, it is the ancient wisdom for all the humanity. It is what we call Soham. The Kalahamsa, among such so I am that, that is in Sanskrit and means all that is, was and will be, or that can be so received by the human mind. Here we will understand about the Kalahamsa. Hamsa ma, Hamsa yan, that is clearly mentioned here in the commentary, because Hamsa is equal to a Hamsa. 3 words meaning I am he in English. While divided in still another way, it will read Soham. Soham is itself a wonderful meditation technique. We often do this meditation during the prayers. It is while inhaling, we mention it. So, and while exhaling, we mention it as hum. So, hum. That is how it is itself. The so hum, which is also linked with om, is itself a meditation technique. Soham being equal to sa, he and aham. Aham is I, the ego. After all, every student or every spiritualist should go beyond his own ego so that he will merge into the absolute. If you remove I, you will become one in all and all in one. I am he. I am he is also a wonderful preposition, wonderful mantra. I am he. I am that. That is I am. So in such a way, we identify ourselves to the Parabrahman. And if we identify ourselves to the Parabrahman, we have to live like a Parabrahman, living for others, sacrificing our life for others. Here, Brahma is said to be Hamsa Vahana. Hamsa has a, the bird, Hamsa, the pelican, or whatever you can call, it has this ability to separate water and milk and take only milk. For example, if we give the Hamsa a glass full of milk and mixed with water, the Hamsa takes only milk and leaves the water. The important suggestion, important secret here is always take the good things that are important to you. Even in, it is also a Vahana of Hamsa, Brahma. Brahma actually, as shown in our Puranas, as you all know, he always sits on a wonderful flower, whereas Saraswati, the female form of Brahma, she sits on Hamsa. That is mentioned here as Vak and Viraj. It here in the commentary, Madam Blavatsky says that it is useless to attempt to explain the mystery in full. Actually, whatever the mysteries, whatever the occult secrets, those are the occult secrets which cannot be put in words. It has to be experienced. Of course, the materialist men of the modern science will never understand it because they never want to go beyond the visible life. In order to obtain clear perception of it, one has first of all to admit the postulate of a universally diffused, omnipresent, eternal deity in nature. Secondly, to have fathomed the mystery of electricity in its true essence, and thirdly, to credit man with being the septenary symbol on the terrestrial plane, which is itself the seven-voweled sign. Here, the seven-voweled sign, as we all know, O, E, A, O, Hu, it is linked with our breath. Initially, as we all know, the germ, as we have discussed, is broken by the great breath, which is manifested, which is generated from the darkness, and then the creation starts. So here it is clearly given, for all exoteric purposes, Hansa, as every Hindu knows, is a fabulous bird, which when given milk mixed with water for its food, separated the two, drinking the milk and leaving the water, thus showing the inherent wisdom, milk standing symbolically for spirit and water for matter. Here it is mentioned a small zodiac circle is given, which is linked with the planets. It is also mentioned here, for it is related to the one deity. This allegory is very ancient and dates from the very earliest archaic period, is shown by the mention in Bhagavata Purana of a certain caste named Hamsa or Hansa, which was one caste par excellence. See, here we can see one wonderful meaning. Caste doesn't mean that it is Christian or Hindu or Muslim or anything. There is only one caste that exists on the earth planet, that is the one who breathes in, the one who breathes out. So that is happening with each and every humanity, with each and every person. That is how in our Puranas it was mentioned, one Veda, one deity and one caste. This is happening in the internet. You can see all nations on one platform. In the future, we can say it is as one nation, one color, one caste, one religion, the religion of love, one language, the language of silence, one caste, the caste who observes the breathing, not the Muslim, not the Christian, not the Hindu. The caste who observes the breathing, the so and hum, the so and hum, who always thinks that I am that. That is the one caste, that the future of the humanity. One Veda. Veda doesn't exactly mean the ancient scripture of India. One Veda is one secret doctrine, one important text which gives the essence of the entire cosmos and cosmos. Cosmos and cosmos. The solar system, and also the universe. One deity, we can say the sun as one deity to all the living beings on the earth planet. There is also a range in the Himalayas described in the old books as being situated north of Mount Meru called Hamsa and connected with episodes pertaining to the history of religious mysteries and initiations. We all know that the Himalayas have different places wherein the masters dwell there, live there, and send wonderful things, wonderful knowledge through all the masters to us. As to the name of the Kalahamsa, being supposed vehicle of Brahma Prajapati, the exoteric texts and translations of the Orientalists supposed vehicle of Brahma Prajapati, it is quite a mistake. Brahma, the neuter, is called by them Kalahamsa, and Brahma, the male, Hamsavahana, because forsooth his vehicle or Vahan is a swan or goose. This is a purely exoteric gloss. This is purely mentioned just to be a symbolic. Brahma as a neuter. We can see the first logos, second logos, third logos. They are mentioned as Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. Here, one more thing is the swan or goose Hansa is a symbol of that male or temporary deity, as he, the emanation of the primordial ray, is made to serve as a Vahan. Vahan vehicle. Everybody have 7 vehicles. We all have 7 vehicles. So this is a vehicle with which we can attain the moksha, the swan, the hamsa, the breathing. It is a divine ray. Here, one more thing is mentioned in the a strange symbol chosen. The hamsa or the swan is also used by the Rosicrucians aquatic fowl, whether swan or pelican, with the 7 young ones for a symbol modified and adapted to the religion of every country. Ensof is called the fiery soul of the pelican in the book of Numbers, the hidden deity and its symbols and glyphs, appearing with every Manvantara as Narayan or Swayambhuva. The primeval differentiations. The symbol is given here, the Rosicrucian symbol. A swan is looking after its 7 small children. It is very small lecture it is. I will just conclude it very soon. Here in the commentary, it emerges from it at the end of the divine incubation as Brahma or Prajapati, a progenitor of the future universe into which he expands. He is Purusha, spirit, and he is also Prakriti, the matter. Therefore, it is only after separating himself into 2 halves, Brahma, Vak, the female. Earlier we have mentioned the Saraswati is the embodiment of speech. Brahma is the creator. Initially, the sound emanates and the creation starts. The sound we all understand that O, E, Ye, O, Hu, or Om, or whatever it is. The creation starts with the sound. That is why the Brahma, the neuter, his consort is always shown as Saraswati, the goddess of speech, the goddess of the speech. Brahma Vak the female and Brahma Viraj the male, that the Prajapati becomes the male Brahma. Here, the goddess of the speech is mentioned as Saraswati. There are 4 types of Vak Shakti, the speech: Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari. These 4 types of Vak are also 4 types of creation. Vaikari is objective cosmos. Madhyama is the light of the logos. Pashyanti is logos itself. Para is Parabrahman. Vaikari Vak is objective light or sound, which I am doing right now. I am speaking in Vaikari Madhyama, Vaikari language. Madhyama, the next level, is light expressed. The idea before what I talk. Pashyanti is the underlying light in me, the knowledge. Para, as usual, we say Parabrahman, it is incognizable and ever subjective and latent light and sound. So that is always cannot be expressed in words. So here we can say that if one meditates commencing with a metaphysical or mathematical center and inscribing a circle around it, and then imagines a series of concentric circles expanding in every direction, that circle becomes a swelling sphere until it ultimately dissolves into the boundless empyrean encompassing and receding beyond the entire cosmos. At the same time, it will still have its stable center in human consciousness at greater and greater cycles of abstraction. Such is the extraordinary power of metaphysical imagination or truly deep meditation. Here I am suggesting a meditation like thing to all the students which I am practicing actually. So that is the meditation of Soham, where we can understand which is real, which we cannot put it into the words. That one of these, as in our ancient texts, has told us, as expressed at Yama and Niyama, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, and Niyama, internal ethics, Saucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. Swadhyaya, as we self-study, as we are doing through this secret doctrine classes with the help of element labs, this is Swadhyaya. Tapas is regular practice and using our time for others. Santosha is contentment. Saucha is clarity and purity. Like that, we can conclude this wonderful journey of our understanding the secret doctrine. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dear Kishore, thank you so much. Thank you for always drawing us to these notions that open up the symbolism from the standpoint of Hinduism, be it Puranas. Why is it important? These are the origins that any researcher needs to know who studies the secret doctrine. Thank you so much for telling us about all these terms and notions that Sloka 8 is full of. Thank you so much. And we see that we're receiving a lot of questions from the participants of the seminar. The questions addressed to you, please stay in the seminar. We're going to continue. Just a second. And I'm very happy that our presentation will not cover the topics that the previous speakers talked about. Kalahamsa was covered by Mr. Kishore. He talked about the divine, and Taquin, Brigitte told about things that we're not going to touch upon in our presentation. And thank you so much for that. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to look at the notions that will give us a new understanding. So please stay with us. We have a lot of questions. We're receiving a lot of questions from the participants of the seminar. Stanza 3, Sloka 8, please demonstrate the presentation. Stanza 3, Sloka 8 says, where was the germ and where was now darkness? Where is the spirit of the flame that burns in my lamp? O Lanoo, the germ is that and that is light. the white brilliant son of the dark hidden father. The main question of the shloka has a consistent answer in Dhyan itself. The first question is, where was the germ? And the answer is, the germ is that, and that is light, the white brilliant son of the dark hidden father. The dark hidden father, a potential acting force hidden in matter, of fire in the waters of space. The son of the father is light, white, and brilliant. The germ has phases, and as we understand, these phases were covered in the previous shlokas. Stanza 2, shloka 6 says, these two are the germ, and the germ is one. The universe was still concealed in the divine thought and the divine bosom. That is, the germ was single and was hidden in the divine bosom. Stanza 3, shloka 2 also says on the germ, the vibration sleeps so long, touching with its swift wing the whole universe and the germ that dwelleth in darkness, the darkness that breathes over the slumbering waters of life. The vibration touched the germ and it ceased to be one. The phase of its separation began. First it was dual, shloka 2, and then trifold, which corresponds to shloka 3. The next mentioning of a germ is in stanza 3, shloka 3. Darkness radiates light, and light drops one solitary ray into the waters, into the mother deep. The ray shoots through the virgin egg. The ray causes the eternal egg to thrill and drop the non-eternal germ, which condenses into the world egg. That is, the germ turned from the third state into sixth. That is, the duality of the first three occurred inside, so the world egg was formed, sevenfold in its essence. Now the phase corresponding to stanza 3, shloka 8. 8 is the state of formation. What is the state of formation? We can compare it with the 8 months of women's pregnancy. It's a well-known fact that 7-month-old children can be born and live like 9-month-old ones, and an 8-month-old fetus does not survive. There is no life force. And some people believe that an 8-month-old fetus does not suffer and therefore does not survive. The key point is the following. Stanza 3, shloka 8 is a state of the space of light that has begun to shine, and in this radiance there is absolutely no suffering, since there is no reason to suffer. But where was now darkness? The darkness bowed before the light in its preservation. This is the reason for the future victory on all planes of existence, the victory of light over darkness. At the very beginning of the universal evolution, the darkness was equal to light before the differentiation. And that is why there was the bowing. There was the complete acceptance. And where is the spirit of the flame that burns in thy lamp, O Lanoo? The spirit of the flame was in the darkness, and the darkness hid it. The abstract deity has no name. It's usually called that, or tat in Sanskrit, and means everything that is, has been, and will be, or that can be so comprehended by the human mind. Let's have a look at Helena Petrovna Blavatsky description. I am him. From the center, from the inside, we move closer to him, and he is me. This is the reverse movement from the outside to the inside, to the true I, and I am me. When we have the complete reflection of light, eternal and external, into one state. That is how the darkness turns into light. Macrosopus, microsopus, or talking microsopus, he, you, I, corresponds in Secret Doctrine to Hu Ata Ani, and Helena Petrovna gives figures for each of these notions: 12, 406, and 61. Let's have a look at the sums. He is 3, or the germ, the preservation of light, the light that in all planes of existence will be projected before the ending of this Manvantara, and it will also move to the next one. You corresponds to 10. You are movement, and you become movement, or you connect the two. You become the ray. It is the internal state when I, the higher self, becomes one with the unity of the external and internal light in this threefold nature. It becomes 7. So we can say that the true consciousness is 7, or synthesis. It's the returning of the of us to the higher self. Its true mystical meaning is the representation of the universal bosom depicted as the primordial waters of the abyss, or opening for the acceptance and the successive exodus of the single ray, Logos, containing 7 other rays or creative forces. This is the united ray. What are these rays we're talking about? These are the creative forces, or logo, or builders. 0 is the abyss, the exodus of the single ray that contains 7 other rays. He is Purusha, or spirit, but he is also Prakriti, or matter. We can see the sevenfold nature. There are 7 other rays that appear. After splitting into 2 halves, Brahmavak is the feminine beginning, and Brahmaviri is the masculine beginning, and Brahma is the creator of everything on this earth, but there are 7 of them, or the 7 correspond to 10 sephirots of Kabbalah, but the meaning is the same. It is similar to Ein Sof. It's the fiery soul of the pelican in the Book of Numbers, manifesting with each Manvantara as Narayana, or Swayambhuva, the 7 existent. He penetrates into the world egg, and at the end of the divine incubation proceeds from it as Brahma, or Prajapati, the progenitor of the future universe into which he unfolds. He is Purusha, spirit, but he's also Prakriti, matter. And therefore, only after dividing it into 2 halves, into Brahma Vak, the feminine, and Brahma Viraj, the masculine, Prajapati becomes a male Brahma. And we have this male impetus. What is the ray? The ray is the union of the spirit and matter, for this is life. What is I? I am he. The ray is the combination of spirit and matter. I am he is part of the one. He is me. In the one, there is everything. I am me is the highest state when I merge with the one. The next correspondence. I am he is darkness is light. He is me is light as darkness, and I am me is light as light, or germ, or electricity, or life. The key point: to assume that man is a sevenfold symbol of the earthly plane of the single great unit, the Logos, which itself is a 7-voiced sign, the breath crystallized into the world, into the word. We have various stages. The universal substance forms nodes and passes through the stage of the sun, comet, planet, until finally it turns into a dead body, or the moon. Suns are also different. The sun of the solar system is only a reflection. At the end of the solar Manvantara, it will become less and less radiant, will give less and less heat due to changes in the real sun, the reflection of which the visible sun is. After the solar pralaya in the future Manvantara, the present sun will become a cometary body. But of course, this will not happen during the life of our small planetary chain. The arguments given on the basis of spectral stellar analysis cannot be considered valid, as the passage of light through cosmic dust is not taken into account. Where was the germ and where was now darkness? How did this light get through this dust? What are the stages of this passage? What stages is this light reflected? Or how is it formed? Or how can it get thicker? And how can it turn? How does it turn into the visible ray? Through the cosmic dust, this light preserves the germ. It uses the impetus to pass through the stages of cosmic dust. And this impetus is the center, the creative center, the center of the creator within the germ. When the center is opened up, we are not in the past, we are not in the future, we're in the points of the present where we can create. And then this small moment, these small moments turn into our path, which is endless. Just like the monada path, the preservation of the germ light is also endless in all planes of existence, from the higher unmanifested to the physical one, to the earth, or to the state of the human body. Where was the germ and where was now darkness? Where is the spirit of the flame that burns in thy lamp, O Lanoo? The germ is that, and that is light, the white brilliant sun of the dark hidden Father. And the conclusion: the vital principle is in the germ, in the darkness. It is hidden, just like the spirit of the flame is hidden in the lamp. At the stage of Sloka, the life principle is that the cause of the light carrier, devoid of the cause of suffering. Thank you so much. When this idea, the idea of 8 that do not have the cause of suffering, came to us, we looked at the whole system, the system of Sloka 8, and it turned out that the whole secret doctrine has only 2 stanzas that has 8 shlokas, shlokas 8 that are talking about this state. It's stanza 1, which has stanza 8, and stanza 3 that has shloka 8 as well. This volume 3 forms the cosmogenesis, and shloka 8 is no longer mentioned anywhere. It's not mentioned anywhere else. So we used to say that shloka 8 is a unique state of the evolution of the universe. It is the first step, the internal step of the law that does not have the origin of suffering. There are no reasons. It's the absolute darkness and absolute light that melt, that are together, merged together. We cannot pronounce it because it's unpronounceable. And this 8th state is the symbol of eternity. And if we look at that and take that into account, we'll be able to look at stanza 1, 2, and 3 and see how various notions are considered in various parts of this teaching. And another thought that occurred to us, we're in stanza 3, and we, on multiple occasions, told that stanza 3 is the foundation of the secret doctrine. It's the last point of the formation of the germ. This is the threefold nature. It's the causeless cause of life, and it will have the power to preserve the light, to preserve the first reflection. It's the acceptance of light and darkness when they merge together. It's the acceptance of the unity. Stanza 3 has 2 flows, the centrifugal forces, and the other one, the female and the male origin, the positive and the negative. The polarity always has the fighting forces. And the secret doctrine states a very important idea. The polarity turns into duality, because duality has this possibility to connect these forces, and they are no longer fighting each other. And then this impetus of creative focus appears, and it preserves the germ as the law, as the imprint that will be seen in the whole universe. And this is the victory, the amazement of the victory of darkness over light, and it can be heard in the sound of the unpronounceable name. The 8th states do not have the origin of suffering. Thank you so much for listening to all these ideas.
I wanted to bring to you, and there are the questions. And the first question to the members of the research group, if Mr. Huang is online, but our participants would like to listen to your philosophical opinion about the question of how the human mind understands that. The speakers mentioning Sloka 8 was speaking of this that, and how does the human mind comprehend this that?
You know, the opposite of light is darkness. Also, the opposite of darkness is light. Between them, we have to understand the germ. Today, it was very helpful to me to understand that, you know, the creation of the new world from the nothing. We need more understanding about that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't, you know, think anything about that.
Thank you so much. So is there any opinion from you, Mr. Yary? This comprehension is in calmness of mind. As the mind gets calm, then the comprehension starts. Thank you so much. That is the whole way to understand how to do it. But I have the shortest answer that can come to mind. How do we comprehend that? Through this. That is how the mind comprehends that, through this. I also have a question to one more Theosophist, PhD, Mr. Kalganov, professor of the Chair of Philosophy, Moscow Aviation Institute, Moscow, Russia. The question is the following. What is hidden under the strip? Probably it's Kalahamsa bird and Brahma when we're talking about this foundation. So what is hidden under this strip? Mr. Kolganov, if you have an answer, we'll be happy to listen to you. Good afternoon, dear participants of today's seminar. This question is aimed at not a materialist, but modern scientist who is trying to study what is there beyond the visible world. And in attempts to comprehend this invisible, I am using classical philosophy. As for the first question we have today, not aimed at me, we can comprehend that through the great notion used in classical philosophy as the reflection. The astral light is the reflection of Mahatmas, and accordingly, we are trying to reflect the Mahatmas in the right manner. We can reflect Mahat in the right manner only if we have the astral light. As I absolutely agree with Mr. Yary, is in calm state. As for the question aimed at me, It's quite complicated to answer, and I haven't understood it quite correctly, I believe. Thank you so much. Mr. Sergei Vitalyevich Kolganov, thank you so much for answering the first question. I think you've also answered the second one without touching upon it, with such touching. And meaning this question, that was the vegan, we were touching upon it one seminar workshop we had. There is a kind of conductor, the vahana, that is transferring from the high to the low, and that is vahana itself. But if we mean that all manas come from Brahma, and that means that Brahma is the Kalahamsa, because there are the 7 logo in it, and the vegan is a kind of carrier or the main part of Kalahamsa. This vahana of vegan matter is a kind of error, and in the Secret Doctrine, HPB mentioned how we should understand it. Actually, that is the direction the Sloka 8 is going to, and the conclusion that came to the mind of Mr. Huang and Mr. Kolganov. The question to Mr. Kishore Angoli. You talked a lot about milk and water, but could you please tell why traditionally milk is preferred as food?
Milk is traditionally a food in our part of the country. Milk in general, when it is brought to us, they may mix with water. So the quality of Hamsa is to differentiate the milk and water and take the milk. Milk is being taken by each and every person as a liquid food, liquid diet, and it is many people think that milk is not correct, but it is very good to our body. It has its own medical it is like a medicine.
Thank you so much. In the context of the Secret Doctrine, we are speaking about symbolism more, symbolic matters, and the symbol is quite subtle and accurate. The way the single cause is revealed here, it's the legendary bird. Who is the legendary bird? The legendary bird is Narayana, the spirit over the waters, flying over the waters. And how can this spirit, having no attributes, when it hadn't touched upon this matter, how can it be in this matter if water is matter? The symbol of this milk is the spirit, and spirit that is flying over the waters. In its motion, it has its power, its force, but it's not materialized and not revealed in the context of this creation of the universe, at least. If the nature of the human being once becomes similar to divine nature, what happens then? There is a particular state of the universe appearing in the process of the universe evolution. And the way we're trying to understand what happens when we achieve a particular ceiling of becoming the divine nature. When does the spiritual development start? They're asking, when does the harmony appear and what is the end of this process? This universal harmony makes us one point that helps us to get rid of illusions. So the divine nature, when it appears, when the person becomes similar to it, there are no illusions anymore. And there is just the germ preserved, and that is it. So we're asking the next question, and I would ask the members of the research group speakers to understand what is the context we should use to answer the question, what is there beyond our physical feelings and sensations. Let's start from Mr. Yary. It is mind beyond the sensations.
Большое спасибо, господин Колганов. Если есть
Thank you so much, Mr. Kolganov. If you have something to add, then please tell us a bit about what exists beyond our physical sensations. As for the answer to this question, probably as researchers of the secret doctrine of the heritage of Madame Blavatsky, we understand perfectly that the physical plane is just one of the planes of being. Therefore, beyond physical sensations, there is a more subtle planes where the feelings are also there, but they are in different form, and accordingly, this subtleization of straight thinking is the subtleization from one plane to another till we touch upon the divine mind. And there is just one book. It's called Education of Feelings, and we wish to everyone to educate the feelings, to try to feel something on a physical plane, meaning something from the higher planes. Thank you so much, Mr. Kolganov. There is one idea that came to my mind, how to qualify whether it's beyond or within the borders of physical sensations. As we look from the circle of samsara, we just see the border, just see one aspect, and if once we happen to look from beyond, from the eternal life or the eternal nature, then we'll happen to see it, and the secret doctrine gives us an opportunity to look from beyond, to feel it, to understand what is beyond. Therefore, we proceed, and there are two questions left.
Question 1. How did the darkness bow before the light? And this victory is for the whole evolution. How can we understand it? Well, I guess the question is on the presentation of the material that we gave today. What does this bowing mean? It is the balance. The meaning is the following. We put on the scales the spirit first. As for the material part, how can we find a balance there? We use the heart crystal. The spirit enters the heart crystal, and that's how the victory of light over darkness happens. And that's when the bowing takes place. It's preservation or becoming equal. The equal becomes equal. The next question, the son of father. Did father have sons that were not full of light, that were not radiant? We're getting back to Sloka. Vladimir, do you have the answer? The answer is humanity. The non-radiant sons are the humanity. Well, sometimes they are radiant. I think that the radiant sons are the manifested light. That's why they're radiant. In Pralaya, the father had the state of non-radiant sons. We're talking about the manifestation and the non-manifestation. And now we're getting closer to concluding this radiant light that was hidden in the darkness. It is the threefold state, the germ. As for this balance and this victory that is pronounced by our spirit, it is pronounced in silence. And the power of the voice of silence has no cause of suffering, is the first name of the unpronounceable sound. It's the 8 that is Sloka 8. It is the first touch. If we're talking about fire, light, rays, sound, there are many things to think about. I'd like to ask you to make a conclusion of this seminar. We've touched upon a lot of notions, a lot of points given by Blavatsky. We also were able to identify and express our own ideas of how we can understand various notions. We were able to listen to scientific and research group members, to our speakers, and I give the floor to the professor of the philosophy department, to Mr. Kalganov, the city of Moscow. I liked the speeches, the presentation of the speakers very much. They helped us go back to reality and to turn back to Maya according to Indian philosophy, and they helped us realize the truths stated in non-double Vedanta Shankara. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Mr. Hwang, could you please conclude the seminar? It would be very interesting to hear your opinion.
I think this time is very meaningful and constructive about the understanding of the something creation in a new world, our universe. But still, we need to more understanding about the exact what the meaning of the darkness and the germ. Actually, the germ is a very difficult language, so we need to learn more about the germ. I guess. Thank you very much. It was very helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vladimir, the floor is yours. Yes, we have touched upon a lot of topics, and we have one common topic, The Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky. And we use this source of knowledge, we go back to it, and as a result, we systemize all this knowledge. The lack of system is a good thing because it is an opportunity to systemize things, and Kalachakra is a complete system for this cycle. It includes all systems, all religions of the world, all confessions of the world. It is the spiritual intellect. Only spiritual intellect enables us to collect Kalachakra in one. I welcome all. I especially welcome those who collect Kalachakra. That is the quotation. The collectors are the source of the synthetic thinking. When we collect everything that was predicted by Blavatsky, when we collect all these pieces of material, we enter this great system that enables us to leave the samsara circle, the circle of illusions, and step by step, trying to delve deeper today or during the next seminar, we go closer to the essence of things, and that's how we'll be able to collect into one the image, and then the grain of the spirit or monada will find a good conductor who's worthy. And these conductor who are not attached to the past or to the future. This is the moment that can be felt. This is the moment of hardships, and these hardships show us the path. If we go with decency through the hardships, or when we are able to draw our understanding of the events, then these hardships, these momentous hardships, turn into the path to creativity, the creative path. This is the carrier of monada. This is the preservation of consciousness as the grain, and it is the potency of the power that is equal among the equals, and that's how the balance appears. It is the reflection of the absolute light. This is the path, the eternal path in all Manvantaras, and humans who go through these momentous hardships with easiness can express this creativity with their thoughts. They overcome their fears, doubts, and that's how the balance appears. And this balance is the foundation of Sloka 8 that states, and by the way, we had a very complicated question that we received. And question 2 is, where was the darkness now, and where was the germ now? Now is in this moment. Where was the germ? The germ was there as well, and this word now is used by Blavatsky to get out of this separation, to understand the now moment. We need to see that darkness is light. That is where this preserved germ was. So that's why at first we need to answer the second question, to get all the keys to answer, to unlock the first question, where the germ was. It was in this carrying light. This is the internal state of the potential creative path of the future. Friends, thank you so much for joining us with studying Sloka 8, Stanza 3 by Blavatsky. Thank you for the variety of your questions, for reactions, for likes. Our chat is full of questions. We will study them. We'll give answers. And soon you'll be able to participate in Quizzy. Thank you, dear speakers, for preparing presentations, for sharing your discoveries, for giving us direction today to discuss very interesting ideas that members of the scientific and research group also were able to comment on. Today we had a very practical scientific and research seminar, and that would be great if such seminars of practical nature would happen during the whole cycle of our studies. Thank you, the technical support. Thank you, interpreters. We will be happy to see you on the next seminar. The next online class will be held on the 9th of November, and at the end of November, we invite you all to participate in the global event that cannot be compared to any others. It's the Theosophical Congress in Moscow. It will have the simultaneous interpreting in English and Russian. It will be held from the 23rd to the 26th of November. And at the last day of the Congress, we will, for the first time, be able to see the briefing of the Theosophy and Society roundtable that will focus on Oriental studies, biology, medicine, cultural studies, and many other sciences as well. So in other words, all fields of human activities will be covered. So please join us, ask your questions. This will be the live conversation, and Theosophy will be perceived and developed with a focus on the practical application in our lives. Thank you so much.